Okay, in today's video, I'm sharing with you my experiences with postpartum anxiety and the ways I overcame it, and some tips that can help you as well. So stick around. Okay. Hey beautiful mamas, welcome to Mom for Every Season. If you are brand new, my name is Taryn, and this video really is kind of a full circle moment for me. If you look back a year ago this month, if you're watching this in present time, I posted this video and it's my very first video. I was literally in the trenches of postpartum anxiety and overwhelm, and I was really struggling in motherhood. I had posted that video, and in that video, you can watch it too, I am bawling. I literally had just gotten out of the shower, which is another reason why I decided, you know what, I'm not even going to do my hair for this video, because it really is full circle for me, because I've overcome that postpartum anxiety. I am living more from a place of calm and ease rather than overwhelm and stress. And I really just wanted to share with you how I got out of it. And you'll see in that video, I pretty much had, I'd wanted to do a YouTube channel for a bit, and I was kind of like stuck and overwhelmed even in that aspect. So one day I just decided, you know what, I had just finished having a shower. I was like, I'm just going to do a video. This is my very first video. I'm just going to get it done. So, and I shared with you a little bit about overwhelm and motherhood and all of that. You can check it out. I'll put it in the description box down below. But this is really a video about overcoming that, and I am in such a different place this year than I was last year at the same time. Okay, so a year and a half ago, I had my third baby. She is now almost 18 months, and last year I really was, dealing with this kind of new thing that I've never really felt before. I was really stuck in overwhelm, and it was super heavy feeling, and even just to get out of the house gave me anxiety. I, was feeling trapped inside, but then at the same time, just the fact of trying to get the kids ready and, out the door would overwhelm me, and really any type of little things would overwhelm me. And I knew this wasn't normal. This wasn't normally how I feel. I didn't have these same feelings or symptoms with my first or second. I may have had like a touch of postpartum depression with my second. And again, that was kind of like, it was more of an isolation thing and not getting out of the house. But these feelings that I had with postpartum anxiety were just different feeling. It would, give me anxiety to try and get my kids all to sleep at the same time for bedtime. I was overwhelmed with house cleaning. I was just like in this really state of mental, mindset that was in a very dark and negative place. And I knew it was a huge problem too when I would get my youngest down for a nap, and, I'd get worried that, and in this state where when my son would wake her up, I would just, snap at him. And I was like, okay, this isn't me. I know I need to do something about this. So here's what I did for the past year. So I'm going to share with you some tips that helped me. But I also want to mention that, of course, if you are feeling like you have postpartum depression or anxiety, or you just need help, to seek that help and get professional help, whether that's a counselor, therapist, or of course, even just your family doctor. Just get that help. These are just my experiences and my own tips that have helped me that I'm sharing, but I am definitely not a professional at this. I am just a mom of three, sharing with you. Okay, so my number one tip and my number one go-to is just breathe. Like, take a nice deep breath and breathe. Like, that is like the one thing that I'm able to, in the moment, if I'm starting to have that kind of like panic or that anxiety overwhelm, I know that if I just, concentrate on my breath, take a few deep breaths. If I'm, snapping at my kids, I will take a nice deep breath. And this has helped me the most. And I've talked about this too in previous videos, but just taking it even one step further and, really tuning in to, you can think of your like heart center, take those nice deep breaths, and then think of your heart. You can even think of, what are you grateful for in that moment? Like, what does my body need? What do I need? And just really tune into yourself. Back in January, I was at a conference, and I remember, we had to stand up at that point for a certain exercise, but I remember like feeling my heart race, and I was like, I could feel, I was on that like brink of going into like almost a panic attack, and I could feel that anxiety, and I literally just sat there like, belly breathing, really deep breaths, and it finally dissipated. Everything was fine in that moment. So just taking that breath, even if it's just one, 2 or 3 breaths, will help you be present and tune into yourself. My tip number 2 is self-care. And I know this is like such a huge, trendy topic right now, but just taking care of you. At least like, I like to do self-care daily. I wake up earlier before my kids are awake, and I just, I try and do things that I enjoy and what I love, and what helps me feel connected to myself. So, if you feel, overwhelmed in the fact that you don't have time for self-care, just taking it down to 15 minutes a day. Or if your say your spouse is getting home, just even stepping outside for a couple minutes just to go for a quick walk, just to be, have your own time away from your kids. And of course, if you, have been with my channel for a while, you'll know that self-care I've talked about in previous videos. If you're brand new, I would love for you to stick around and hit that subscribe button if you want more tips on, motherhood and getting out of the overwhelm. I can go on and on about self-care and why it's so important for moms, but just really at the end of the day, it's finding something that you love, that helps you grow as a person, that makes you feel more connected to yourself, or maybe more connected spiritually, or whatever that looks like for you. And it's so much more than bubble baths and pedicures and facials and all of that. Like, it's just really something that, helps. I always say it helps me connect to myself. So I personally love journaling and meditating and reading books. That's the thing about self-care, is like, you can't delegate it. No one else can do it for you. And it's up to you what you love to do. So taking daily action to connect with yourself. Number 3 is getting out of the house. And yes, this is the one I struggled with the most, because that's, one of the main pain points that I felt with my overwhelm, is just getting out of the house. But again, it's like a vicious circle. Like, you don't want to get out of the house because it's, putting you in a state of anxiety, but then that going out will help your mental health. But like, if you don't do it, then your mental health, like, it's like, can go on and on. So even if it's just taking a 20-minute walk out in nature, and just getting out the door. And it, what I really had to let go of, like, my kids, are probably going to have snotty noses. They're probably going to have snotty noses, and they're going to have mismatched socks, and their hair's not going to be done. But what's more important is me just getting out of the house. So I don't have to put up this perfect perception that, I have it together. And really, it was more of a fight sometimes with my son, because he wanted to pick his own socks, and, he didn't want me wiping his nose. And I would brush my youngest hair, and she'd go in the car seat, and it would be a mess again, and whatever, just let it go. Tip number 4 is join a mom group. This I found when I was a first-time mom with my oldest. She's turning 7 this month. I didn't have any postpartum depression with her. I was in a pretty good mental health state at that point. I didn't have the anxiety, and I really contributed to having a mom group. We met once a week, and it was just great to have that relationship, be able to talk with other moms, get out and have adult conversations, connect with them, share our experiences, share our struggles. And when I had my third, we had just recently moved, so I didn't really know very many people. So I definitely think that was probably a contributor to the fact that I had this anxiety, because I didn't have a ton of adult interaction, and I was stuck in the house all the time. So if you can find a mom group, I know sometimes there are more of the paid style where you go and do activities. I did that too with my first, where we would, 1 week you'd go to the zoo, and the next week you would just have like a chit chat kind of discussion group, and just different things like that. Just look at your local recreation guide, or sometimes there's like those mop groups that are really good. Finding that connection and being able to socialize, and then your kids get socialized as well. And we also have, I know in our smaller towns, there's stuff like Parent Link, just finding different avenues to be able, like even if it's just signing your kids up for like mom and baby classes or mom and toddler classes, because it gets you out of the house, it gets them socialized, and sometimes you really connect with other moms in those groups too. Tip number 5 is movement. I am such a huge supporter of exercising, working out, and that can look like really anything you want it to. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to, you don't have to go for a run. If you don't like those things, don't do them. But find something that moves your body daily, even if it's just walking, because movement will help, remove all that stuck energy. It will help those endorphins start flowing more, and it's just so much better for your mental health just to get out and moving. It connects yourself to your body, and there's just so many benefits to exercising. So finding something that you enjoy and that you love. I know I definitely worked out through my first and second. I've had some injuries now, some more chronic injuries with my hip and ankle this time around, that haven't allowed me to go as I guess hardcore as I would like. But even just trying to get out for a walk and adding yoga into my daily routine just helps me even just feel better. Like if you work out in the morning, you could choose whatever time you want. I just feel that when I work out in the morning, that the rest of my day just feels so much better. And I love to get outdoors and go for hikes and walks, and even just being outside in that nature helps fill my soul and makes me feel better. So find something that you love to do as well. You'll be surprised too that there are some things that, like starting out a running program, you might hate it in the beginning, but if you can really focus on the benefits of it and focus on the fact that you have that body to be able to run, just focusing on the feeling it gives you so much more momentum and motivation to do it later on. Like I never focus on, exercising to look better or exercising to lose weight or anything like that. I exercise because it makes me feel good. I can't talk. I exercise because it makes me feel good. And end of story. Like it doesn't matter about getting a beach body or getting, into your bikini for the summer, whatever. Just have that sense of movement and work out because it feels good and you enjoy it. Tip number 6 is all about mindset. Because of course, we're never going to get rid of fear completely. We always have fear, and there are benefits, of course, to fear. It does keep us safe. But when you have that when you're in that negative, going down that negative road, or you're heading towards anxiety or overwhelm, just changing it. So recognize it, say, I see this fear, and I love Gabby Bernstein has a way of, in her books, she says that, I recognize that this is fear, but in this moment, I'm choosing love. And rather than saying like, I don't have time for this is, just taking so long, I don't have time for self-care, how am I going to get this all done? All of those like little mind chatter in your mind, you can just recognize it, feel it, sense where it is maybe in your body, and then let it go. And then reword it to something in a positive mindset. So you can say something like, you know what, I'm choosing to make these a priority in my life. I have time for what is important for me. Really anything. There's like tons of affirmations you can look up online. And I use affirmations or mantras all the time. And I have little cards that I use. I'll look at those after I've done my breathing exercises. And it just puts me in such a different mindset. So finding different affirmations for yourself and pick something that really resonates with you. And tip number 7 is gratitude. Just adding a daily gratitude practice to either your morning or your evening will help train your brain to see more positives in your life and things that you are grateful for. So that when you're going to eventually start, slowly retraining, rewiring your brain to look for the positive and look for the abundance and look for, you know, what's good in your life rather than, you know, sitting here and what's overwhelming me or what's sending me into anxiety and what's sending me into a panic attack. We want to shift that so that you're, you know, have a sense of gratefulness and a sense of positivity. And the more you do it, the more your brain is like, ooh, this is over here. I'm going to look over here. I hope you found those tips helpful. And if you want to check out my very first video, I'll put that again, and that link is in the description box down below. It's kind of funny looking back on it now. I'm like, you know, not even wearing makeup, and I feel kind of silly in it. But it's just, I, you know, love keeping it because I love to look back and see how far I've come. So if you are in the trenches of either postpartum depression or anxiety, or even just the overwhelm of motherhood in general, just know that it gets better. And I hope that if you've gotten anything out of this video, that you have a sense of hope that it can get better. And I hope this inspires you and helps uplift you as well. So again, if you are brand new, I would love for you to stick around and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I love making this type of content because this is what I'm passionate about. I hope to help other moms live a more heart-centered and ease. And in case you haven't heard this today, you are an amazing mom and you got this, mama. So that's it for now. Bye for now. Bye for now.